Well, Razorback fans, this is absolutely chaotic, maddening, frustrating, and I know what's going on. Let's talk about it on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Know that Arkansas and LSU apparently are playing a football game this weekend, so we're going to do a little Locked On crossover action here in a bit with Matt Moscona of Locked On LSU. Looking forward to catching up with him. But, man, there's just so much. There's so much going on. And when I say going on, I'm talking about the nonsensical madness that is continuing to be this Razorback football coaching search. It's incredible to me to have so many things happen, but nothing happen. Because that's what it's going on right now. And I'm going to try to work through this and try to make sense out of it as much as possible. But it all started really yesterday, dealing with some of the things coming out and comments coming out about the about Yurachek and, his involvement and how he's just locked in and he's doing everything he can. He's getting in behind closed doors with everybody and all of that. And it's like, okay, cool, whatever. But then Pete Nakos of on3.com, he hasn't put out much intel on the Razorback coaching search here recently, but did drop some nuggets, if you want to call them that, when it comes to the Razorback football and the Razorback coaching search. Because as you've heard from me about, the James Franklin angle, about some other coaches that are into the mix, like all this stuff. Well, here's what Pete Nakos said yesterday. This was yesterday mid-morning. Sources have stressed to On3 that Arkansas does not have a top three or a top target at this point. But that's expected to come into focus entering into the final weeks of the 2025 season. The Razorbacks have held a handful of Zooms and in-person meetings with a range of candidates in the last 46 days and counting. The Razorbacks are also working with the candidate pool that are in the mix for the other openings. One name that sources have told On3 is not a factor into this search is John Gruden. Also, they made a run at Rhett Lashley, but he ended up signing a contract extension with the Mustangs. But it says the Razorbacks are not limiting their search to just James Franklin, who has been the top name. They've also said that it's John Summerall, Alex Golesh, Memphis's Ryan Silverfield, Eric Morris is there. There's other names like Pat Fitzgerald and PJ Fleck also into the mix, and that's that. Okay, so let me tell you this. I don't know Pete Nakos personally. I have no problem with him. I'm not saying that he has bad info or anything like that because, he's good at what he does. But there's just so many things that stood out to me from this. Sources have stressed to On3 that Arkansas does not have a top three candidate. Stressed. That's the key word. Because when you stress something, what is that? That means you're going crazy. You're saying, no, you better let everybody know. I am telling you right now, 100%, make sure you say this. Make sure you say this. Make sure everybody knows that we do not have a top three or a top target at this point. Make sure everybody knows that. Why? Why? Why would you want people to know that? Because I'm going to tell you like this. If what Pete Nakos is saying is true, and this has been the approach, because and I've talked about the things that I've heard, and I still stand by the things I've heard. I'm not a reporter or anything, but I trust the people who have told me these things, and I trust the people who are in the mix for these things. But if this is true, and this is the way that it's being conducted, it's a failure of epic proportions. They don't have a top three or a top target at this point. What have you been doing? You're saying it's Bobby Petrino. Oh, okay. But what have you been doing? You don't have to release who it is. But there was a reason why you leaked this. There's a reason why you gave the sources out. There's a reason why you wanted to stress the fact that there's no top three candidate or no top candidate or anything like that. Why? Because to me, if it's true, it makes you look bad. It makes you look incompetent because it makes you look like you've been just dilly-dallying this entire time. Okay? So, and I've seen some things about, Okay, well, they're just giving bad info to everybody to throw people off the scent. Okay, I could maybe get behind that, maybe understand that. But if that's the case, why are you doing it to where it's making you look bad with one of these reports? What you do with you're trying to throw off the scent is you try to throw off other coaches' names, other people you're talking to or dealing with, low-level names even. But then coming out and saying, but here's part of our bad info, and the bad info that we're giving out is going to make us look horrible to a national writer who covers college football that we have nobody. We have nobody that we've actually gotten serious about, and we'll get to it eventually. What's the point of that? Because all that's going to do is make you look stupid in the entire thing. So there's no reason for that. And then you throw in the madness surrounding it, and then Hunter Yurachek now being on the college football playoff committee as the chairman because of the Baylor AD that had stepped down. I don't like any of this. I don't like any of it. I don't like the fact that, I still believe that Hunter Yurachek's involvement in the coaching search is not as much as what people maybe would normally believe. But if it is, I don't know if I really want the AD to be doing that. Okay. But then somebody brought it up a really good point because, again, I'm about connecting dots. I'm about taking what I know, taking what I hear, and connecting dots. This was all done on purpose. The timing of everything was done on purpose. There was a reason why there was this messaging that was going out about how Yurachek's getting after it, and he's really involved. He's really doing these things. There was a reason for that, followed by this report, followed by the announcement of Yurachek being named to the college football playoff chair. All of those things have to be, in my opinion, involved. Nakos hadn't said anything about the Arkansas job in 2 weeks, but yet this is the first thing he drops on this day for this time. Somebody wanted this info to get out, and they wanted to do it for a reason. There's a lot of theories that I could throw around, but one of the theories that I was thinking about was just a matter of, hey, trying to showcase that maybe there's some issues here. Maybe there's some people over here. It's like, no, Yurachek's really doing a great job. He's getting after it and all of that. But then there's somebody else leaking out. It's like, hey, I knew that was going to come out. So I'm over here trying to tell everybody, hey, that's not true. They don't even have a candidate. It's a disaster sounding thing to try to cause problems. Maybe that's the case. But something that was brought to my attention that I really thought was interesting is imagine if you're Yurachek and you know that the college football playoff chairman gig is about to open up, and you know that you could be a nomination, and you want to pursue that. Well, what are they going to do if they say, well, Hunter, you're in a coaching search right now. Have you talked to any of these candidates that might be in the playoff and playoff contention? Have you interviewed them or anything like that? Because if he gets asked that question, he says, yeah, I've interviewed one or two of these guys that are in the mix. Suddenly that's a conflict of interest. Suddenly that's a problem. Because then it could open themselves up for corruption of saying, hey, if I'll get you in the playoff this year, if you come over here, or if I know this coach, he'll come here if he doesn't make the playoffs, so we'll just do that. Like, not saying that Yurachek or anybody would do that, but it just opens you up for those things. So what do you need to say? What do you need to make sure the messaging that gets across? He's doing everything he can to find a coach, but they don't have any candidates. They've only talked to a couple on Zoom calls. They have not gotten serious about it. And then when he's asked about it from the people involved with the college football playoff and everything, he says, no, we haven't even gotten serious. I haven't talked to any of these guys. I haven't done any of that. We're good. Like, we're far away from talking for any of these coaches. Is that what's happening? Is that for sure the thing that's going down? Maybe, maybe not. But I don't believe in coincidences. Not in this stuff. Not in this coaching search. It was the same thing when we saw a few weeks ago with Bobby Petrino, when Bobby Petrino did the car wash, the rounds on media. Then he had an article going on 3, and Chris Lowe wrote it about kind of like a fluff piece, if you will, about Petrino. And then it had a comment from a booster there, and it had a comment from a media guy of saying like, oh, he's great. We love it. This is what needs. And it's like, this is not real. This is not something that just happens. There's reasoning behind all of this. There's reasoning behind why this is going on. And it feels dirty. It feels gross. And so the point is, in all of this, because all of you, I get it. This is the type of stuff that'll really piss you off, and it pisses me off, and it frustrates me because this just causes problems that doesn't need to be caused, and it's doing it for other reasons that don't need to be done for. Like, this is just for selfish reasons, in my opinion. But here's the deal. You want to know what's going on, and you're getting sick and tired of it. You don't know who to listen to. You probably don't want to listen to me. You probably don't want to listen to any of the other media people. You probably don't listen to message boards or national guys because you're just sick of it. And I get it. I respect it. I understand it, and I get it. But here's all I'm going to tell you just from my perspective, folks, because that's all I know is my perspective. My perspective is that Arkansas is still pursuing the same coaches that I've mentioned and I've talked about. They're still in the mix. There's still serious talks about it, or at least the serious approach of it, of wanting to fundraise and to get to this point. They're wanting to make it happen. They're going to do what they can to try to make it happen. And they are very direct in their approach as well as staying aggressive. That's what I know. That's how I feel. Now, could there be information getting out for other reasons? Sure. Could some of the information I've been given be wrong? Sure. But I'm telling you, some of the information I have been given are from people that I know for a fact will not appreciate whatsoever being lied to or being given false information to try to politic and campaign and make it go a different direction for some different messaging. That ain't going to fly. But I get it, folks. I'm tired of it too. I'm tired of this nonsense. I'm tired of the games being played, especially when there's not a peep on the Arkansas coaching search for weeks. And then all of this happens to happen in one day. It's all part of the plan. It's all connected. You cannot convince me otherwise. And it's just unfortunate because you as Razorback fans, you're the ones that have to put up with the nonsense, and it sucks. And I'm sorry. But we are going to have to talk about this Arkansas LSU game. Matt Moscona, Locked On LSU, joins us next. Stay with us here on Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, it's almost the weekend. It's time to crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered the most, so let's break it down. This past week, I'm going to go ahead and give it out to a lot of the Razorback basketball team that you could end up giving out to for you, the key players. But mine's going to be Carter Knox. It was great to see him back into the mix. It was great to see him back out there getting some big-time threes and really making some noise and bouncing back from that loss against Michigan State. He put out the performance. There was no hesitation. There was no delay. And if you've been watching week after week, you're going to know this is going to be a next-level dude. And just like Carter Knox delivered for Arkansas, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save every Saturday you order, stack it up all season long, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. Continuing on with the Locked On crossover edition of Locked On Razorbacks, as well as Locked On LSU, as we have Matt Moscona, as well as I'm John Nabors, trying to make it all work in this battle for the Golden Boot.
No, we have John Nabors is what we have. We have you. You don't have us. We have you.
Yes. Just like we would really like to have the Golden Boot back here in Fayetteville after so many years. I know. We've talked about it. We'll keep it here. You can even claim it and we'll still keep it here. But man, what a situation, Matt, that we find ourselves in. Both teams heading into this one. Interim coach situation. I know that there's definitely different circumstances, but just kind of what's the vibes like going into this game from the LSU perspective?
Nobody cares about the game. I'm sure it's the same there, John. As much as Arkansas fans love the game and the rivalry and all that stuff. You and I have talked about it a million times. The game does mean more to Arkansas than it does to LSU, but I don't think for either fan base their primary focus is this game. It's more the coaching search. The odd, John, just for context, that has nothing to do with Arkansas. I don't mean that as a knock. Like last week when LSU played Alabama, there was zero juice for that game. It was LSU Alabama, which for 2 decades was one of the premier games on the entire college football calendar. It's just people came into this season, John, with national championship aspirations, preseason top 10. Nussmeier and Cade Klubnik were co-favorites for the Heisman. And brother, you're sitting here at 5-4, 9 games in. You're into November. You've already fired your coach. all the hoopla around here. I mean, the fans have a certain perspective. The interesting thing for the game on Saturday is, like, can the players look past that and actually get themselves ready to go play a game? Because, brother, I'm going to tell you, man, I think Arkansas presents a really specific challenge that's going to be a problem for LSU on Saturday.
Well, it's funny because for Arkansas, it's the weirdest thing is seeing Bobby Petrino as the head coach once again after everything. But they are the kings of playing just slightly worse than their opponents. It's incredible. They have lost 7 straight games. 6 of those have been by 1 possession. They took A&M toe-to-toe for 1 possession. Mississippi State, Auburn. It just does. Tennessee on the road. Doesn't matter. And it's kind of the same thing where Hog fans, they're different from LSU because they didn't have expectations. In fact, they were really upset of the situation. They were upset that Sam Pittman was coming back. And then it just feels like you wasted all that time after all of this. And this particular game, because of the fact that there was some juice with Petrino coming back for a little bit, but then after the same type of losses that you've had, it's kind of like, all right, well, you're out of bowl contention. So what is it? What's the point here? Let's just move on to basketball season. It's that type of vibe to where I think people want to win, but it's not going to be. It's going to be the saddest Golden Boot trophy winning game of all time. It might be.
You and I talked in Atlanta at Media Days, and I remember it was literally the last interview I did on the last day before I went and caught a plane. And you were wearing like a pink Hawaiian shirt, which was lovely.
Thank you.
And you were as low and down on this team in this season as I have. You and I, we've known each other a long time, John. That is as low as I can ever remember you being on an Arkansas season at the onset. I'm not talking about after. I mean, like in July. So yeah, I mean, it's fair. You're right. You're right. It's fair to say the expectations were different. But I don't know that we've arrived necessarily at different places. I think it's probably similar for both fan bases right now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because of, like last season, Arkansas went, well, this is 2 years ago, they went 4-8, and then they went 6-6 last year, and everyone was kind of like, all right, well, Pittman got everything back, and then nothing happened. Like Yurachek, the athletic director, didn't exactly come out and saying he's the man for the job. Like there was just no anything. It's just kind of like, all right, business as usual. They lost every player to the portal, it seemed like. It just kind of felt like everyone had given up on it and given up on the football program.
Schedule was brutal too.
Yeah. Schedule, it was rough. And, there was a little bit because, you had Taylon Green coming back and people knew that Bobby Petrino's offense was going to be really solid. But then it just kind of feels like there's a waiting game that they're playing of, right, well, when's the next boost of energy going to happen? Because if Arkansas would have fired Sam Pittman last year, they would have been pretty much the only SEC program, maybe the FBS program that had a coaching opening. And now they're going to be having LSU and Florida and Auburn and all these other schools. I just think that fans felt like an opportunity was wasted last year. And now they're just really scared it's going to happen what happened when they hired Sam Pittman, where Drinkwitz goes to Missouri, Mike Leach, rest in peace, goes to Mississippi State, Lane Kiffin goes to Ole Miss. All these other programs get these other coaches, and you're like kind of just left with the scraps and the remains.
Is LSU, like LSU did a good job last year on Taylon Green, just specifically on the game. Like it was probably, and they stunk defending running quarterbacks, but the one guy that they totally bottled up was Green. And this defense is better, more athletic than last year's, but man, nobody has stopped Arkansas. No, I mean, even I know the Notre Dame, how that game went, but even still early in that game, Arkansas was rolling. Like, you got any feeling like LSU might be able to do something defensively against Arkansas?
Well, see, that's the thing is where, because I agree with you, like the offense and Taylon Green and everything coming off a bye week, you feel like maybe there's some preparation and all that, but it's like they against A&M, who arguably might be one of the best teams, not the best team in the SEC. They went toe to toe, and A&M had no answer. But Arkansas didn't turn the ball over, so they really played their best offense. Problem was defense couldn't really keep up. But then they go up against Auburn, who has zero offense whatsoever, and they scored 1 offensive touchdown. But Arkansas lost by 9 because they turned the ball over. They threw picks, and that's what's the frustrating thing about what's with this Razorback team is. I know it sounds cliche, but it's like if there's some way that the other team matches up or should be a matchup in some way, Arkansas is going to just give them that opportunity. So I think that, I think Arkansas can score. I think Arkansas will get the offense going, but I think it could just be one bad pass by Taylor Green, a fumble at the most inopportune moment. And this team just rolls over and dies. As soon as they make one of those big mistakes, especially late in the game, it's over with. It's curtains for them. So I feel like that could be the situation with LSU. It's not necessarily that, LSU's going to stifle Arkansas, but it's more about, is Arkansas going to beat themselves and then LSU take advantage of it? That's usually how it goes for some of these teams.
LSU's secondary is good. But man, they've been good against the run, John, but they just don't stop running quarterbacks. Like last week, they held Alabama last week to their second lowest point total this season. They held Alabama to 20 points. I mean, Bama didn't do anything against them except for the big play before half that set them up for the touchdown. So, I mean, we'll see about Whit Weeks as well. I mean, Whit had the huge play last year in the game against Arkansas right near the goal line. Harold Perkins he obviously exploded on the scene as a freshman against Arkansas in the game there in 22, but it's been a slow season for Perk. Had a really nice game last week against Alabama. Maybe he has a nice game, but man, it's such a terrible matchup. It's hard for me to imagine LSU defense just being awesome all of a sudden against running quarterbacks when they're awesome against everybody else except teams with running quarterbacks. I just think Taylor Green is primed to have like a really big day. And so then the LSU offense, which they're awful, man. I mean, it's so surprising because they have talent, John, but schematically and the offensive, the scheme is bad and the offensive line can't keep Garrett Nussmeier upright. And then we find out on Thursday evening that at Thursday's practice, Nussmeier re-injured his torso. So he's probable for the game, but might need some painkillers or something. So like, how effective really is he even going to be? I'm telling you, man, this is one of those, you know what this feels like, John? This feels like 2021. It's one of those perfect storm. And look, that game in Baton Rouge, LSU is a more talented team than Arkansas in 21. But dude, you let a team hang around and then the game ends up in overtime. And remember, that was a game where Max Johnson started. They replaced him, went with Nussmeier, freshman Nussmeier. We couldn't do anything offensively. And it feels similar, man. They're going to play two quarterbacks in this game. It just feels so similar to that. It'll probably, morning game, it'll probably be, 55,000 sleepy fans, just swaths of empty seats in Tiger Stadium. It is just going to be a disgusting display on Saturday.
It could be a very
saddest Golden Boot ever.
I know. It could be a very drunk game, but for all the wrong reasons. It's just going to be, somebody has to win, though. Somebody has to win. But we'll talk more about where these programs are at in the future, both looking for coaches, both wanting to get back to their winning ways, how they do it. We'll talk about that and more coming up next here on the Locked On Crossover Edition with Locked On Razorbacks and Locked On LSU. All right, Razorback fans, we know the NBA is back, college basketball is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Because even if you miss the start of a game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a much bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. So right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head over to FanDuel.com and sign up today to play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, so final segment here on the show. I am John Nabors of Locked On Razorbacks alongside Matt Moscona of Locked On LSU. So Matt, just looking at it from where LSU's at, because I feel like, Arkansas, they've not had a coach for 2 months, it feels like. Seems like Sam Pittman was eons ago. Doesn't look like Petrino's the guy, but who knows? But for LSU and all this stuff, I know it's chaos and crazy, but just how's the future look? Is there a certain coach, certain names, certain feelings that, hey, it's all going to be okay? Or is people a little bit in panic mode right now because of the uncertainty?
Well, the governor said Donald Trump's going to pick the coach. So I'm sure it's going to work out awesome, whatever they do.
Totally. Sounds like
I don't think we're deep enough into the process yet for people to be worrying. But I will tell you, John, it's eerily quiet, especially considering we typically have like a known front runner. For example, when Les got fired in 2016, Tom Herman was their target all along. There was a lot of Jimbo smoke, but it was never Jimbo. In 15, when it looked like Les was going to get fired at the end of the season in 15, they were down the road with Sexton about Jimbo coming over. Like, that was happening. They didn't get a deal done. They retained Les. Weird situation. When they fired Les in 16, Jimbo was never the target. It was Herman all along. And then Joe Oliva, who's the worst athletic director in history, just rushed Ed Orgeron to the podium, gave the same deal they were going to give Jimbo, because that's what you needed to do. Anyway, 4 years ago, a lot of the thought was Lincoln Riley, but Scott Woodward had Brian Kelly in his back pocket clearly the whole time. I think the target is Lane Kiffin. I think if you inject truth serum into any of these committee members, they'll tell you Kiffin is their target. They've talked to Saban. He's consulting them. He's got a lot of great relationships still here with a lot of people. You have Verge Osbury, the LSU athletic director, and Saban. So Verge was on my radio show. So he and Nick have a standing phone call every 2 to 3 weeks. They talk all the time. So naturally, they're going to call Nick and at least get his input. So I think Saban has recommended Lane. Now, John, I don't know if that's realistic. I don't know if he prefers LSU. I don't know if he wants to stay at Ole Miss, if he goes to Florida. I don't know Lane Kiffin. I've interviewed him like a lot of us have, media days, different stuff, but I can't purport to know what he's going to do. But I think he's the number one target. But if they don't land him, then it gets really, really cloudy about who would be next on the list.
Yeah, because I know with Arkansas, the whole talk has been James Franklin. This is just the connections there, James Franklin. And I think that he's probably a coach that's a lot of jobs would be enticing to him, and maybe that they would be enticing to the opposite side of it too. But I just feel like if we're with Arkansas, I don't think any Razorback fan is going to be like, oh, they're on the same place as LSU and winning. I don't think anyone's making that argument. But it's more of like Arkansas's. They've gone so long since they've been competitive, like they know that they've been capable of. I mean, as I always bring up, Arkansas is 16-48 in one possession games since 2012. I mean, it's just incredible. And so they're just trying to get back to the competitive ways of being relevant again. And I think Arkansas seen Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin, seen Drinkwitz over at Missouri, seeing these other programs like, hey, they do it, so why can't we do it? I think that there's going to be a
why
really.
Do you think, by the way, answer that question. Why do you think they can't?
Why I think they can get a big coach?
Can't. Well, like you said, why can't we? Like, why do you think Arkansas hasn't been able to do what you just said? It's an interesting point.
Yeah, because I think from most perspectives that they just don't have a lot of trust in the administration of Hunter Yurachek, because they've been very resistant to NIL. Just very resistant to it, very anti-NIL, not wanting to do things the way that they should be done, not wanting to, because Yurachek even said, he's like, we don't want to get into that third lane like these other teams are. And I'm like, no offense, buddy, but John Calipari, I doubt that all these players are coming in for the sake of just a couple of bucks.
Dude, you're reading my mind. I'm like, isn't that basically what they did with Cal?
Yeah, I guess I'm saying Cal ain't coming in here and just being like, oh man, don't worry, I can make this work on a couple of dollars. Like, no, it's a matter of can they get to the point to where they just have people investing and all the companies investing and everyone being on the same page. Because from what I understand is there's just a lot of donors and boosters, and everyone's like, I don't trust this to give up a lot of my money. But then Yurachek's not exactly been, cheerleading, trying to make it happen, because he doesn't like NIL. He doesn't like what it's become. And you've just kind of been sitting back, and this is what it is. So fans just don't have a lot of trust in the current administration to get it done, because it seems like they don't care about football all that much right now.
That's wild. Yeah. I mean, but you're right in that if you look at Lane or Drink or any situation, even look at Dan Mullen at Mississippi State or Mike Leach at Mississippi State, who you referenced a bit ago. Like, you can absolutely lower the floor when you get the right guy in the building. It's been interesting that there's just been a lot of Chad Morris and John L. Smith and, that.
Yeah. And that's what everyone's they're like, what difference can be made? Like, how more can we get hurt? Anything's an upgrade at this point, it seems like. But I think that because I felt like Matt NIL when it happened, and I'm sure, LSU was already a big dog anyways, but I felt like the greatest thing that could have happened was NIL to get Arkansas to narrow the gap. It wasn't going to get to the point of the LSUs, the Georgias and all that, but that was their chance. And I think other schools took advantage of it when Arkansas did. And now they feel left behind.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, John, like this has always been my thing with Arkansas. I mean, I know Arkansas has a disadvantage in the state in that it's just not a talent-rich state, right? What I say about LSU, the greatest advantage LSU has is the dirt. This is a talent-rich state, and LSU is the only Power 4 school. So there are kids that grow up genuflecting at the purple and gold altar. They'll give their arm just to wear that uniform. And Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, Malik Nabors, Brian Thomas, like all those guys, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, they all grew up an hour from campus. All of them. It's like what all of them. This is just a weird place where you just got a crap load of football talent, and they all grew up wanting to go to LSU. So it's the advantage you have. But you look at SMU, Texas Tech, look at programs that Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt, Indiana, like you get the right guy and the right investment, and you can win anywhere. And I've always looked at Arkansas and I've gone like Walmart, Tyson Chicken, Jerry Jones, FedEx. I'm going, why don't they win? Like why are they SMU? Why aren't they Texas Tech? Freaking Lubbock, Texas Tech. It's the wildest thing. Like I just don't. I'll never understand why in this era Arkansas can't figure that out. Maybe you just answered the question, which is why I wanted to press on a little bit, just because it's one of those schools where I go, if there was a school in the SEC that wanted to do it, they could do it. They could do it.
Yep. And I think that, the John Calipari thing is showing, hey, because why is that done? It's John Tyson. And I remember talking to one of the Tyson relatives when Calipari got hired. I was like, man, no, nicely done. He goes, are you kidding me? This was worth $1 billion in marketing, because every time John Calipari got mentioned, it's like, hey, John Tyson, he's the one, he's the guy. Tyson Chicken, the stock went up. Everyone was buying those Razorback nuggets like crazy. It's like that's what makes it exciting. So yeah, I think every Razorback fan's with you, where again, we know that, as you said, it's not a talent rich state as far as that goes, but with the NIL, with the portal, with just, making it work. And I don't even think Razorback fans are asking for much other than just, hey, be relevant, win 8 games on occasion, 9 games on occasion. But instead, it's just been going with the motions. There's no juice. There's no excitement to the football program here. But I guess maybe that's what will change here, depending on who this coach goes. But
who do you think they hire? Who does Arkansas hire?
I mean, right now where I'm standing, I'm hoping for a James Franklin. However, because nothing ever goes the way I want it. I think that they end up, which is not a bad hire, but I think that they end up with someone like a Ryan Silverfield or an Alex Golesh type of hire, like a group of 5 coach, which could end up working out. But I mean, James Franklin would be the one that would definitely inject the juice here the most.
Yeah. Everyone asks about LSU, and I don't know. I mean, I know Kiffin will be their number 1 target, but if they don't land him, I mean, I've heard Drinkwitz, John, he's making $9 million at Missouri. You really want to pay Eli Drinkwitz $10-11 million a year? I'm like, for a guy that can't beat ranked teams, the most artificially inflated record ever. They load up with 4 garbage non-conference games. He goes 5-3 in the league, loses to all the ranked teams. They win a bowl game against a team with a bunch of opt-outs. 10 wins. No, you stink. Like, you don't beat anybody good. That would be disgusting to me.
Yeah.
I would love John Summerall from Tulane, but dude, there's so many people in Louisiana, like Olgard, they're like, oh, you can't hire the Tulane coach, which is stupid. It's so stupid, because I think he may end up at Auburn, and I think that would be an awesome hire.
I think
fascinating, man. If they don't land Kiffin, what direction they go? You hear some Joe Brady here, but it sounds like he's going to be an NFL head coach. Why would he come back to college? So it might be something similar, man, where you end up in the Ogeron situation, man. You end up promoting Frank Wilson.
Yeah. Well, or hey, Bobby Petrino's probably going to be available here soon. So if you guys
not okay with that, probably not going to be a thing that they're going to do. So
just throwing it out there, Matt.
Yeah.
Well,
you want to pick the game?
Yeah, about to say, before we go, I'll go ahead and knock it out of what I think it's going to be. This Arkansas LSU game is, again, drunk game, early morning game. Nobody cares. But Arkansas is still going to lose by 1 possession until I'm proven otherwise. So I think that LSU wins this game by a final score 48-45.
There's no shot, stupid. John. Listen to me, and I love you dearly. Let's make some type of wager. If LSU scores 48, I will do karaoke with you at Media Days next year. How about that?
Deal. Absolute deal.
And if they don't score 48, You have to buy me that pink shirt that you wore.
Man, okay, double deal. Yeah, I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it.
Okay.
I just, again, you wait. Arkansas is going to find a way. Their defense sucks. So, but yeah, what do you think, then?
But I also know LSU can't score. So that bad on bad when LSU has the football is going to be fascinating. Dude, I was going to pick Arkansas, but now you kind of have me convinced maybe LSU might find a way to win this game.
You sure how it goes?
This is going to be so sad.
It is.
I'm not prepared, John. I'm not prepared to make a pick yet. Okay, you picked LSU. I'll pick LSU then. What did you say by a score?
48-45.
All right, give me 28-25. But there's no way LSU's holding Arkansas to 25 points unless if they fumble 16 times, which they might. Okay, 28-20. You know what? Here you go, John. 28-25 LSU.
Perfect. It'll be the most
actually, by the time we get to my show on Friday on radio, I'm probably going to end up picking Arkansas.
Oh, there you go. Well, 25 points would be a very Arkansas score. Just why? Nobody scores 25, but Arkansas would find a way. But hey, it should be. Let's just hope it's a fun one. It's not going to be, but let's just hope and pray, and hopefully, we just move past this, and whoever gets the golden boot can run over there and get it. Whatever. Who cares? But
nobody's running to get the boot.
Nope, it's going to be a slow jog, if anything. But either way, it's going to be awesome. So if anybody's out there, any Razorback fans, be sure to follow all things LSU in case you're interested in that. And their coach, Matt Moscona, does a great job with Locked On LSU and covering all things. And Matt, tell everybody where they can find you, not only with the podcast, but everywhere else.
Just spell my name. You'll find me. I'm everywhere. I'm omnipresent, John. I'm on every platform at Matt Moscona. I'm easy to find.
Yeah, that's kind of how I
usually yelling about Bama, red-faced, angry, sweating, lots of insults. I really need Alabama to lose to Oklahoma this week. That would make me happy. Oklahoma beating Alabama would make me happier than LSU beating Arkansas.
That's where we're at, man. Because I'm with you too. I would love to see Alabama lose to Oklahoma. Let's just hope for other teams to have fun instead of our teams.
My pink shirt, John. Size large.
Guess we'll find out. But that's Matt Moscona and John Nabors, Locked On Razorbacks. You can find me at John Nabors Show wherever you can find any social media. It's there. But Matt, as always, man, appreciate you. We'll be catching up soon.
You the man.